What does the real estate market hold in 2023? Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Woz Team YouTube channel. I'm Jeffrey Woz, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our page, The Woz Team. Also follow my partner Valerie Hasiba and myself on Facebook and Instagram. I think you'll like our content. Okay, let's talk about 2023. I think before we jump into 23, it's important we take a step back and look at 2022 because 2022 was another crazy year in the real estate market. Things started off the first half of the year very strong. Home prices continued to go up and up and up. Transactions were fluid. Houses were jumping off the market just as quickly as they were jumping on the market. But things started to slow in the second half of 22. Why was that? Fed Chairman Jerome Powell raised interest rates last year from 3% in the beginning of the year to over 6.5% later in the year. As a result of that, mortgage rates, which move in tandem with interest rates, shot up to just shy of 8%. The result of that was many home buyers started to take a pause, took a step back, pulled out of some deals, fearing that they were buying at the peak of the market, just like in 08. Here's the thing though, we didn't really see the bubble burst in the real estate market last year. Sure, things slowed down, but you had nothing close to the doom and gloom we had back in 08. Why not? For starters, homeowners on average had much more equity in their homes last year than they did back in 2008. 2008 was a crazy, unprecedented time in the real estate market. These were the days, if you remember, we had interest-only loans, we had no income verification loans, we had the whole subprime mortgage crisis. As a result of all these crazy policies, homeowners had very little equity in their homes and were in a much worse position than they were in 2022. The result of these practices was banking lenders increased their standards and homeowners had much more equity in their homes in 2022. So what about 2023? Now, this is where I need to say that much as I like to think I'm a genius, I'm not, and I can't predict everything 100% correctly. However, we have made forecasts here, and these forecasts and opinions are strictly those of the Woz team, specifically my partner Valerie and myself and the other members of my team. These are not the opinions of Terry O'Connor Realtors or any other realtor for that matter. But I think it's helpful that we make these projections because they'll give us some expectations to keep in mind when forecasting for the year. Let's start our analysis with interest rates. So far in 2023, we've actually seen rates start to pull back a little bit. Most economists, however, are predicting that interest rates are going to continue to rise during the year. Some economists think they'll go as high as 9%. Some believe that they'll go as high as 8%, but then pull back to 5 or 6%. There seems to be a general feeling across the country that things are okay. Sure, there's a war in Ukraine right now. Inflation's high. There have been layoffs, although they've been mainly limited to the tech sector. And we even have China sending over balloons to spy on us. But generally speaking, things are okay. Unemployment's at 3.5%. The stock market's actually up this year after a bad year last year. And things seem to be okay. Maybe the worst is behind us. But let's just assume for the moment that rates do go up this year. What does that mean for the real estate market? First, regardless of where rates end up this year, I am of the strong belief that real estate sales, when you measure it as a transactional volume, year over year, will decline this year. Higher interest rates just simply means that fewer people will be able to buy and sell homes. This is just a fact. There will be fewer transactions this year, which will put pressure on housing inventory, which will put pressure on buyers, which will put pressure on sellers, and so on and so forth. Next question, how much will real estate sales volume actually decline this year? At this point in time, it's almost impossible to predict that because that is entirely dependent on where interest rates end up. They will be lower. There's no question in my mind about that. It's just how hard or how much is hard to predict. So then if interest rates go up and real estate sales go down, doesn't that necessarily mean that real estate values will go down as well? Not necessarily. Stick with me because this is where it gets a little crazy. Yes, we may see declines in real estate values across the country, but I don't believe that the values will decrease by anything of any significant measure. Further, I believe that values will be flat this year, particularly in New Jersey. Why is this? The same reason that any asset or investment goes up or down, supply and demand. It is the key number one factor right with interest rates in the real estate market. Unlike in 2007 and 2008, sellers don't really have to sell their homes today. Think back to 2008 for a second. We had an unprecedented financial crisis, which was the result of the subprime mortgage collapse, which was the result of a major stock market decline, which was the result of major layoffs across every sector in the industry. This forced people to sell their homes. Add to that the banking crisis. Banks did not give out loans. Therefore, there were no buyers to buy homes, sellers couldn't sell their homes, and downward we went. That's not the case today. Banks are giving out loans aggressively. As for supply and demand, generally speaking, supply is still very low across the country. Where we are in northern New Jersey, supply is almost zero. Let's talk specifically for a moment in some of the towns that we sell houses in. Whitecroft, my hometown. As of today, there are 10 active listings in the entire town. Upper Saddle River, there's 12 listings active today. Saddle River, 23 listings. Ramsey, single digits. There are 9 houses in the entire town for sale. Franklin Lakes, 27. These are historically very low numbers. Remember something, in 2020, 21, and 22, a ton of people bought houses. As a result, they locked in very low mortgage rates, mostly in the range of 3 to 4%. It makes no sense for these homeowners to sell their homes today and go lock in a mortgage rate today of 7 or 8%. It just doesn't make any sense. As a result, many of these homeowners are sitting tight, keeping inventory very low. Take the flip side, take the buyer side. One particular segment that's getting very hardly hit is the speculative buyers, AKA the flippers. The flippers are the guys who buy the homes, fix them up, and sell them with the intention of a quick profit. Higher interest rates means higher lending costs, which cuts into the profit margins of this particular buyer. As a result, these buyers are being forced to have to pay all cash on their deals, which is further decreasing the amount of buyers in the market today. Now, I'll tell you what I tell all of our buyer clients at the WAS team. If you're sitting around and you're waiting for the real estate market to crash this year, we think you're making a big mistake. Why? Because I don't see that happening. Conversely, if you're a seller today and you're a client of ours and you're thinking about waiting, sitting on the sidelines, I will tell you this, I think that's a big mistake also. Because even if rates do come down and more people put their homes on the market and it's a stronger market, that's going to increase inventory, which will decrease the value of your home. If you're in the market to buy or sell in the next year or so, Valerie and I are telling you all day long, do it today. So let's try to tie this all together. We do not believe that there is going to be any burst in the real estate market in 2023. More specifically, we think values will stay flat this year. Are home prices going to go up 15 to 25% like they did in 2020 and 21? No. Are real estate values going to go up 10 or 11% on average like they did last year? No. But flat is a okay thing to be after 2 or 3 years of unprecedented gains. Remember, we have seen in the last 2.5 years unprecedented gains in the real estate market. 80 years of real estate data shows us that on average, real estate values increase by 4 or 5% per year. What we have seen the last 2.5 years is unprecedented. Supply and demand are both being decreased by where we are right now, and it's largely attributable to interest rates. I think this will remain through the year, and I think our values will be flat. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of our YouTube channel. If there's anything else that we can be of help to you with at all, please give us a call. Valerie Hasiba, Jeffrey Waz, the Waz team, Terry O'Connor Realtors, the Wyckoff office, and we'll look forward to talking to you in the next episode. Take care.